Today marking the second day or the second round of wage talks in the metal, steel and engineering sector at the Bargaining Council sitting in Boksburg. We're seeing parties, the workers and employers coming together, approaching this particular sector and approaching this particular wage negotiations in earnest, ensuring that they come through for their workers. This is an industry in 2021 that saw the downing of tools, a strike action emanating from these two parties not finding each other that dragged on for about 3 weeks, costing the economy about 500 million rand. But these parties that are here are looking to find each other today. We're seeing the employer coming through with the responses, looking at the first round that we had about 2 weeks ago, and the employer and these parties had to go to their constituencies, get a mandate and come back. This is a bargaining, I must say, that is happening behind closed doors. But during just a break, we catch up with some of those sectors or those role players that are within this sector to give us a sense of what is happening behind us. And this afternoon we bring through Mr. Lucio Trentini, who comes through as the CEO of Seifsa, who give us a sense of what has been happening behind us. We know very well that you're representing the employers. The employers will also have their own expectations in terms of what they would like to get out of this bargaining process. We saw you talking the last time about just rolling over the wage agreement that is expiring in June and looking at some of the adjustments that will have to play in this space. Today you are responding to the workers. Give us a sense of where we find ourselves looking at the second round of these wage negotiations.
So today's round, as you correctly framed it, is the second round in a 3-round engagement. I'm very encouraged by what my two previous trade union representatives had to say. In essence, you're hearing that there's a lot of positivity in the room, and we have engaged on the key issue of wages. The principle of rolling over the current 3-year agreement is on the table. There's a couple of other issues that we need to get our heads around, but most importantly, we're at a point this afternoon where the other employer bodies who've typically stayed outside of any deal that has been concluded in this sector are showing a willingness to potentially come to the table. So if we keep up with this positive approach to the engagement between one another, and if we can bring one or two other larger employer bodies on board, we will have for the first time an agreement that has been signed by all the social partners that is truly representative of the sector as a whole. We remain cautiously optimistic. Today was good. Hopefully this afternoon will be better. If it goes into the evening, we'll still be here. But our intention remains to come back on the 8th and conclude an agreement, which is an agreement that safeguards the interests of the industry, workers in jobs and employers who have companies to look after.
Give us a sense of your approach to these wage negotiations. Are the demands still the same? You went to your constituencies to get a mandate looking at the first round that you had with the employees and the workers. What are the employers saying? What are your companies, Seifsa members saying?
So the framework of a potential settlement agreement is structured around 8 points or 8 themes. And the most important being wages over the next 3 years. We are all looking for most of us, I think there's 1 or 2 unions that aren't yet at that point, but a 3-year deal is on the table. We want to see if we can tweak the exemption procedures to make it a little bit more efficient and effective. There's a position on job creation, there's a position on small business. We are at one with all the unions on housing. You heard the General Secretary of Numsa saying that housing is a key issue for the sector. This sector sits on massive metal industry pension and provident funds in excess of 139 billion rands of investments under management. And what we're saying as social partners, surely we can find a way to deploy some of that money to infrastructure spend and some of that money to creating a fund to have workers having access to better housing opportunities than the traditional going to a bank approach. We agree on that. What we need to do is work out the modalities. And then the last issue is around sitting around the table and once again talking about a policy that addresses the challenges in the sector, an industrial policy for the metals and engineering industry that can unblock the bottlenecks that are bedeviling growth in our sector.